This is the Sabbath School lesson for the fourth quarter, 2021.
Lesson 13 from our series Present Truth in Deuteronomy is titled The Resurrection of Moses, ready for teaching on December 25, and I'm Percy Harrold. Tuesday, December 21, the death of Moses. Poor Moses, having come so far, having gone through so much, only to be left out of the fulfillment of the promise made to Abram many centuries earlier, to your descendants I will give this land, Genesis 12, verse 7. Read Deuteronomy chapter 34, verses 1 to 12. What happened to Moses, and what did the Lord say about him that showed what a special man he was? Deuteronomy 34, beginning at verse 1. Then Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo to the top of Pisgah, which is across from Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead as far as Dan, all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah as far as the western sea, the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees as far as Zoar. Then the Lord said to him, This is the land of which I swore to give Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not cross over there. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor. But no one knows his grave to this day. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were not dim, nor his natural vigour diminished, and the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moses ended. Now Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands on him. So the children of Israel heeded him, and did as the Lord had commanded Moses. But since then there has not arisen in Israel a prophet like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all the signs and wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt before Pharaoh, before all his servants, and in all his land, and by all that mighty power and all the great terror which Moses performed in the sight of all Israel. Ellen White writes in Patriarchs and Prophets, page 471 and 472, In solitude, Moses reviewed his life of vicissitudes and hardships, since he turned from courtly honours and from a prospective kingdom in Egypt to cast in his lot with God's chosen people. He called to mind those long years in the desert with the flocks of Jethro, the appearance of the angel in the burning bush, and his own call to deliver Israel. Again he beheld the mighty miracles of God's power displayed in behalf of the chosen people, and his long-suffering mercy during the years of their wandering and rebellion. Notwithstanding all that God had wrought for them, notwithstanding his own prayers and labours, only 2 of all the adults in the vast army that left Egypt had been found so faithful that they could enter the promised land. As Moses reviewed the results of his labours, his life of trial and sacrifice seemed to have been almost in vain. End of quote. Deuteronomy 34 verse 4 says something very interesting. This is the land of which I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. The Lord was using language almost verbatim from what he had said again and again to the patriarchs and to their children about giving them this land. Now he was repeating it to Moses. The Lord also said that, I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not cross over there. Deuteronomy 34 verse 4. There's no way that Moses, standing where he was, could have seen with normal vision all that the Lord had pointed him to, from Moab to Dan to Naphtali and so forth. Ellen G. White was clear. It was a supernatural revelation not only of the land, but also of what it would look like after they had taken possession. In one sense, it would almost seem as if the Lord had been teasing Moses, rubbing it in. You could have been here had you simply obeyed me as you should have, or something like that. Instead, the Lord was showing Moses that despite everything, even despite Moses' mistake, God was going to be faithful to the covenantal promises that he had made with the fathers and with Israel itself. As we will see, too, the Lord had something even better in store for his faithful but flawed servant. This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind, and It Is Written. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. Remember, God is always faithful.